Señores, señores, como ya se pudieron dar cuenta en el título, este episodio es totalmente en inglés por la invitada. Para las personas que hablan inglés y desean quedarse, bienvenidos. Para las personas que no, estaremos subiendo en 3 días en la versión en español.
Bienvenidos al podcast del Mundo Tatakai. Anécdotas. Historias de la lucha libre, invitados, experiencias y opiniones, contadas o narradas por un ex luchador. Mundo Tatakai.
¿Qué tal, amigos del Mundo Tatakai? Los saluda su amigo Solar Junior y yo soy Solar y les deseo muchísimo éxito en esta nueva etapa.
Hola, les habla Canek, el príncipe Maya. Larga vida para la lucha libre mexicana. Un abrazo para todos ustedes.
Sintoniza en Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Podcast, Radio Public y TuneIn.
Que viva la lucha libre mexicana.
Los saludos desde México, amigo Guillermo Tercero. Gracias. Bye.
Welcome everybody. Like I was saying, this episode is going to be in English just because the type of guest we have. It's an honor to have a guest like her. So you guys going to hear about her story, about her experience being a German woman that went to Mexico and fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the sport. So you guys going to learn more about her. I know some of you guys already know her, but a lot of them don't know her. So it's going to be a really, really good talk. And we welcome everybody that listen to us in Germany and so many other countries and other cultures, and obviously that listen to us in English and in Spanish. So we hope you like this episode, and we're pretty proud to have somebody from another country go to our country and be part of it, part of the culture, part of the sport. So we hope you like this episode and have fun. We really had fun making it. So we hope you guys enjoy it. Many times we think about changing things on our lives. Many times we think about doing something different for our lives. But something that I really respect is when somebody makes the dreams come true. And I'm not saying a plan, because plans may change over time. But the most important thing is doing what you love. There's one word that describes this person that I'm about to interview. And to me, it's adventure. A lot of us take life as an adventure. And if you're not taking it that way, your life can be really solid, as we call it, boring. So this person is born in Germany. She goes to Mexico. She falls in love with the culture, with the country, and with lucha libre. Lucha Libre becomes a sport alive for her. Not only she stays for that, she starts training way south in Mexico, at the end of Mexico. Somehow she ended up in the other side, north of Mexico. Where? Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua. Now she's training. Now she's popular. She became part of the Lucha Libre. And now she's living the dream. She's living her dream, which is something that we really, really appreciate about anybody that has the guts to do what they want, even far, far, far away where they were born. So Mundo Tatakai, it's really happy, and it's a pleasure, and it's an honor to have a person like her with us, so she can share her adventure, as she called it, live. Mundo Tatakai welcomes Miss Kath. How you doing?
Hi, guten Tag. Hi, everybody there. I'm Miss Kath from Germany, and right now I'm living here on the Mexican-US border in Ciudad Juárez.
Well, we're really happy that you're here with us, sharing your story and talking about the stuff that you're trying to do and the stuff that you're doing already. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, obviously, we're going to start from the beginning. You're born in Germany, but how was your life in Germany? Were you always like a wrestling fan, or is that something you saw after you got out of Germany? Or how was your life when you were in Germany, before you went to Mexico, before you went to another countries?
Well, I must say that my country is quite poor in comparison to Mexico, because we hardly don't know Lucha Libre. Now, in these times, I think there are a lot of tourists who get to know it, because, as you know, Lucha Libre is just part of the Mexican culture. But when I grew up, I remember, when I was a teenager, you knew Hulk Hogan, you knew The Undertaker, but it was not so popular in Germany, and it was seen a little bit like naco. You help me with this word?
See, naco, like nobody liked and nobody wanted to do it.
And yeah, well, I always, well, as a child, I was not very, very sporty. And as a teenager, I fell deeply in love for all the martial arts existing on Earth. And I started with fencing, and then kung fu, boxing, kickboxing, muay thai, capoeira. And I really loved all these sports, and especially kickboxing. And but I was not, I didn't knew about Lucha Libre and wrestling until I came to Mexico.
Okay, so you grew up with WWE and WWF back in the day, and you always liked the contact sports, right?
Yes, that was really my big love, and I think without doing kickboxing for so many years, I might not have been ready to get into wrestling, to get into Lucha Libre.
Okay, so I got one question for you. So if you were a fan of WWF back in the day, why Mexico? Why Lucha Libre? Because as you know now, it's a whole different world. It's totally different from the wrestling that they do in the United States with WWE now, and the Lucha Libre that they've been doing in Mexico for 100 years. So why Mexico and why Lucha Libre?
Yeah, totally. I came to Mexico because as a child, as a teenager, I read a lot and like adventure stories from all over the world, and I always had the idea to go abroad, to get to know other countries, other cultures, other other living conditions, and I was always very interested about Latin America, and it was more or less a coincidence that I came to Mexico, but because I just asked two friends of mine who already had traveled after school, and I told them, where do you think I should go if I want to know about Latin America? And both of them said, oh, I would think it would be great to go to Mexico. And that's what I did, and I got really nice, great friends from Mexico City, and we were doing a voluntary work camp together in La Huasteca Potosina. And afterwards, I was with a friend at her family's house in Mexico City, and it was just like a quiet Sunday afternoon, and we didn't knew what to do. And they told me, well, we can go to see Lucha Libre. And we went to Arena Coliseo. And I never saw this before. And I was really amazed about the show of all the acrobatic elements, the people interacting with the wrestlers. And I was really amazed about it. But even then, I never thought that somebody like me could enter in this world, I would say, no. And that was some years later when I finally moved for work to Mexico, and that was on the other border, on the southern border in Tapachula, Chiapas. And there were no boxing classes, no kung fu, nothing. And I was really like, I want to go on with martial arts, and what can I do? And the family I stayed at that time, the boy told me, well, I have a friend who is practicing Lucha Libre, and if you want to try, I can get you in contact. And I told him, I just want to go to have some training today. So if it's possible, I'm totally glad to go with him. And that was my first Lucha Libre training with Los Gallos Sureños and Tapachula, and I was another time I fall in love for this sport, and I was really like, wow, that's the coolest thing I ever got to know on earth.
Okay, yeah, you're not the only one, I can tell you that. But so you saw wrestling, you saw Lucha Libre, and you liked it, obviously. But when did it became like, I want to be a wrestler? Obviously, it was when you're already trained, because it's different when people just see it, and it's way different when you're trained. So how was it when you decide, like, I want to be a wrestler, a luchadora?
Yeah, well, it passed some years, no? When I first saw it at Arena Coliseo in Mexico City, I was just like a fan, and it didn't even occur to me that I could be the one in the ring. And that was when I came to Chiapas, but after the first training, I said, wow, that's the climax of all. That's better than kickboxing and everything I got to know before.
Yeah, I can see that. So how difficult was to make that decision when you go from Germany, from your country, and then going to a different country with a whole different culture, language, everything? Like, everything was different, obviously. But how was it hard, or how hard was that decision to make after you thought about going somewhere else and leaving where you already know, going to the new?
Well, there had passed some years. I was always trying to visit Mexico, as I made so good friends there, and I really loved the life, the culture, all this big country which has so many different cities, landscapes, and I was really like like waiting for an opportunity to go to Mexico. And when I finished my studies, this opportunity came, and then it was really like, whoa, yes, I will stay and I won't go back to Germany.
Yeah. One thing I gotta ask you is, I know you were in Chiapas, Mexico, and for the people that listen to us and they don't know, well, Chiapas is way south of Mexico. It's basically the last state in Mexico south, and as you guys can see the map, Mexico is pretty big. And how do you end up in Juarez, which is in the opposite side to the north? So literally the border. You were from the border in south, went all the way to the border in the north. How do you end up over there?
Well, that is a long story as well. In Germany, I was always participating in anti-fascist, anti-racist movements. And so for me, it was a very important topic, migration and global migration. And in an interchange, I came to Tapachula, Chiapas, and I got to know a migrant shelter. And I was very impressed about the hard situation migrants are going through which come from Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and going to Mexico using the freight trains to get north. And this was the reason why I stayed, because I was doing voluntary work at the shelter and coming back, and until the founder told me, hey, we just got money to make bigger our team, and if you can stay, we are pleased that you work for us. And that was the moment I stayed, and well, got a migrant myself on, though with a lot of more of opportunities, or I think I have a lot more easy migration than other people do, no? Who have to make such a lot of efforts and risk their life, and
that's really something to think about. I know we always take everything for granted, like we have. But once we see other people experience all that struggle just to be better for their families, just to, grow up as a person, that's when it hits you. And it's really good. It's really nice that you were doing that. And that's how you end up in Juarez. And Tapachula, I do know Tapachula. One of my uncles, he married somebody from there. So it's a whole different, it's like if it's a different country. Juarez and Tapachula is a whole different, it's like you're looking at a different country.
Yeah, that's right.
And when did you meet Pagano? Well, I'm gonna throw this up there because a lot of people don't know, but Pagano, he's a really popular wrestler from Juarez, and now after the Triple Mania, it's nice seeing him winning. So he's popular, but he has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend is you. So how do you meet Pagano? Do you meet him right away? Do you meet him when you started training, or when you were training somewhere else, or how do you guys met? How did that happen?
Yeah, well, I was training in Chiapas, and I was in the ring. I wouldn't even say as a wrestler, because I at that time I hardly knew very few about it, and about lucha libre, and it was like a ballad wrestler. They took me to the ring, but it was a great experience, because we went to really, really small villages in the mountainside, at the seaside villages I would have never known in my life. And actually, there we were the biggest show of the year, no? As you mentioned, the Triple Mania. In these small villages, we were the superstars. And I really loved it, because I was the only woman in the ring. And I was always amazed to see young girls, elder women who just saw me in the ring, and they got so excited, and they said, wow, there's a woman fighting with that man in the ring. And I will always remember one scene when we were fighting in a small village. It was even raining, and a woman passed me una escoba to to beat up my contrincantes, and things like that. That was really, really wonderful to see. And as you mentioned, then I met Pagano on a journey to Juarez, and I had already friends here, and they told me, well, if you come to Juarez, we will organize your fight, and we know somebody who's like you. He's a punk and he's a wrestler. and so I met Pagano in Arena Calaca, and and that's how I stayed in Juarez, and I mean that it is really, really a great difference here to train because Lucha Libre even comes from here, no? Salvador Luterot went to Juarez and to El Paso and saw the small fights soldiers from the Fort Bliss and El Paso had here, and he thought that's a great idea and I would take it back to Mexico. So it's really where Lucha Libre comes from, where I'm living now, and you have a very high quality, very vivid and popular ambient with a lot of very good maestros. And if there's no COVID and no lockdown, you have every weekend full of fights, and there are a lot of people, a lot of families here from Juarez who just do all their weekends going from one arena to the other, no, and seeing all the fights you have during the weekend. And then there's as well the Auditorio Gimnasio Neri Santos, and that's a very, very historical site as well, no, as a lot of big names come from here, and for me it's very important as well that there are so great female fighters like Lola Gonzalez and Sirenita who just started their career here before they went to Japan and to Europe and to all parts of the world.
Yeah, of course. And that's something that not a lot of people knows about. They think, or they want to think, it was based in Mexico. It started in Mexico, but the reality is that it started in Juarez. It started in Juarez before it went to Mexico. And like you mentioned, Salvador Luterot, he went to the border and he went to see Lucha Libre, but the Lucha Libre was already in action in Juarez. And like you mentioned, there was a lot of good wrestlers. There was a lot of good trainers. It's still good. It's still good, like I mentioned. And I don't say it because I'm from Juarez. I'm saying because the high level training is one of the tops in Juarez. But people from different states from Mexico, they don't know that. They still think that it was created, it was made in Mexico City, which is not. And we can talk about a lot of names, like big names. We can talk about Fishman. We can talk about El Cobarde. We can talk about a lot of names like the ones you mentioned, La Sirenita, Lola Gonzalez. There was a lot of good wrestlers back in the day. There still is, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of them that when they go to Mexico City, they were proud. They were proud to say, I'm from Juarez. And you mentioned Josue Neri Santos, that place. It was on the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That was the boom in Lucha Libre in Juarez. Even myself, the first match I saw a Lucha Libre was when I was 4 years old at the Josue Neri Santos. And I know it's sad that right now it's kind of slow. It's not how it used to be. And in fact, for so many years, they didn't even have any matches, any Lucha Libre. Now they started again, which is nice. So imagine how we feel seeing that place again, full of people cheering their favorite wrestler, seeing wrestlers from another places go to Juarez. That's something that really hits us, especially when we're not there. But I was gonna ask you. Obviously, you started training in Tapachula, and as you know, it's a whole different level when you go to Juarez. If you can mention some of the things that you saw different when you started training in Juarez, that you noticed or you realized that you were in a whole different level of training.
Well, first of all, I had women to fight with, no, or to fight against. And that was a very new experience to me, because, as I told you, in Chiapas I was always the only woman fighting. And here, surely there are a lot more of male fighters, of male luchadores, but there's as well a whole league of women fighting, no? And that was a whole new experience to me, and first of all, I think they just saw me, and thought, what does she want here, and what is all this about, and might not have taken me too seriously, because I had not a lot of training, and yeah, I was.
Well, you were pretty much new. So that's a normal thing. I mean, people don't understand that when you have your debut, yeah, you do have some background, you do have some training, because otherwise you wouldn't be up there in the ring. But that's common sense that you don't have experience. Experience will come as you have more matches, but that's a normal thing.
Yeah, totally. And for me, it was very, very difficult. Well, I was really training hard, and then it just happened that I broke my arm, and I was 1 year out of the sport. And then the la placa que tenía en el brazo, that broke as well. So it was like 2 years, 2.5. I couldn't do a lot. No, I was always training, at least doing pesas or some aromas in the ring, but I couldn't fight anymore. And at that time, it was a very great thing that I started with Pagano and El Gerente, un amigo. We just started again with Calaca Collective, because when Pagano went to AAA, he had no time anymore to organize fights at Arena Calaca. Mm-hmm. And well, I used this time. I couldn't really get so far with Lucha Libre, and became host at Calaca and organizing fights at Calaca. And on one hand, it was a very hard time for me because I couldn't do Lucha Libre anymore. But on the other hand, or from my point of view, now I think that it was a great experience and a great apprenticeship as well, to be behind the scenes or presenting fights, and to get more deeply into Lucha Libre business, and to understand all the different actors and what's it all about behind the scenes, and I think I know all the male and female fighters very well now, just because of this time, and when I started fighting again, then it was really like, now I will go on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And well, just before COVID and Corona and everything came with lockdown, I was able to get the women's championship of El Padrino de El Paso, and I was invited to a lot of places to defend it, but then came the lockdown, and so now I'm waiting for the new times to come, and hopefully in the next year all the fights will start again. No?
Yeah, definitely. The COVID stopped a lot of stuff, including the wrestling. So that's hopefully, we're hoping for next year to have a better year than this one in wrestling, in Lucha Libre. And do you have somebody that you want to match with? And now that you have more experience, now that you have the point of view behind the scenes, the point of view of the organization, the point of view of everything about Lucha Libre, I'm pretty sure it'll give you a new vision of the sport. Do you have somebody that you want to have a match with? It could be a woman, it could be a man. Do you have somebody like that?
Well, I once was a second for Pagano, and the other second was La Hiedra. And well, I'm seeing a lot of fights now from AAA, and I think La Hiedra, Lady Shaney, the women there, they're really doing a great job, and as well, I think there must be coming a time soon where women will be in the ultimate fight, no, in the main event of the evening. But I think, yeah, I would really like to fight against La Hiedra.
Yeah, well, that will be a good match. Now that you have more experience, now that you've seen the point of view, like I was telling you before, the point of view, the new vision of behind the scenes of Lucha Libre. Back at home, you literally grew up watching WWE. Have you ever thought about going to WWE, or not necessarily WWE, but like a different NXT, or different company, different brand, however they want to call it? Is that something you think about it, or is that something that you really don't want because you're living where you're at right now? That's what you want to do, or is still an option for you going to the States?
Yeah, I think the very big advantage we have here on the Mexican-U.S. border, that as economy, as culture, as everything is so mixed up between the two countries. That's the same fact about Lucha Libre wrestling, no? And I think that here we are training a lot of mixed styles, and perhaps you can even speak about a special border style, no? You have like very traditional Mexican elements, and you have strong style from the United States, and as well extreme, but as well lucha Greco-Romano, no? And so everything is very mixed up, and I think this is a great advantage we have here, that we can really look to both countries. And before the lockdown, I quite oftenly crossed to El Paso to fight there, and unfortunately it's gotten very, very difficult even for people living here to cross the border, and hopefully this will change soon. Yeah, but as you asked me, I think that there are great styles in the US, and I especially love ECW. Like when I see their matches, I think, wow, that's really the next level, even though.
Yeah, of course. And like I was saying, it all depends on what you like. I can say what I like. I like Lucha Libre. I like CMLL. To me, it's one of the most authentic, if that's the word you want to use, about Lucha Libre. And I like Lucha Libre. I like different styles too. But I think the most complete in training and tradition and everything, it's Lucha Libre. WWE, obviously, they have their own opinion about what wrestling is. In Japan too, which I do like the strong style of Japan. That's one of the things I do like. So it all depends what you like. I mean, wrestling is wrestling, but I'm not saying this because I'm from Mexico, but there's a reason why a lot of wrestlers go to Mexico to learn the lucha libre style. And like I was saying, to have somebody like you from Germany going into Mexico to learn, or it didn't happen that way, but at the end, that's basically what you're doing right now. But a lot of people will say WWE is number one, New Japan is number one, Lucha Libre is number one, CMLL, AAA is number one, and it's their own opinion, you know, and I respect that. But to see the most complete to me is Lucha Libre. So you have the opportunity to learn different styles, which is the best thing you can do for yourself. I mean, you can go to the States and learn the moves. You can keep training in Juarez and keep learning the style, because believe it or not, it's a different style. And you probably noticed it already, because it doesn't matter if it's Lucha Libre, but they do have different styles in different states in Mexico. So it is a difference between being being trained in Juarez and being trained somewhere else in Mexico. It is a difference. And as of right now, you are in a really good position that you can learn all the styles, all the different styles. And that's something that it's priceless, because not everybody have that opportunity because of the way you're training and the spot you're on right now. So that's a really good thing for you. And to tell you the truth, I never heard about you before until somebody from Juarez, because I do know a lot of people in Juarez. I do know a lot of wrestlers too. But somebody from Juarez sends me a picture of the newspaper and says, "Who's this?" And there's a newspaper from Juarez. So that's when I heard about you. And then I started looking who you were, what you were doing. Obviously in the paper, they kind of tell your story, but that's when I started noticing. And then when I found out, I was like, "Oh, that's Pagano's girlfriend." Okay, I know who I'm talking to now. But how is it like to be in a different country and be known now as a woman that came to Mexico, and a woman that it's part of the culture, and now it's part of a sport that can't get more Mexican than lucha libre? And I say this because some people still say it's not true, but I think it is true. It can't get more Mexican than lucha libre. So how does it feel to be known as the luchadora from Germany that lives in Juarez, that has a relationship with Pagano, that she is fighting, that she is learning? How's it feel when people from Germany or from other places, doesn't have to be Germany, it could be United States, it could be anywhere, but how does it feel when they start knowing you and being known in a city that you basically got there for work and you stood there?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting as well, speaking about different cultures. I always go back to Germany and do some jobs there, like every good migrant, and visiting my mom and my friends and everything. And some years ago, I started looking around, and I said there must be some wrestling in Germany. And I got in contact to the German Wrestling Federation, which have their seat in Berlin. And so every time I go back to Germany, for some weeks I have a great training with them. But for me, it's always very curious that if they see me doing moves, they always say, "Oh, but this is very Mexican," and then I'm just conscious about that. Yeah, like me as a person, I'm really have some mixed up identity, between being German, having been born in Germany and now living in Mexico. But as a fighter, as a wrestler, I'm really Mexican, no? Because I don't know the German or the European style. And now here getting a bit more known in the city or as well in Mexico. I just started a project with a friend of mine at this German Wrestling Federation. He's a Mexican wrestler in Berlin, Orlando Silva, and we just had the idea. Hey, we both went to other countries, and he's doing wrestling in Germany. I'm doing lucha libre in Mexico, and so we started a project that's called Borderside Wrestling on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And because we're really keen that people from Germany get to know better about Mexican wrestlers, Mexican lucha libre style, and vice versa, no? Because I think here in Mexico, if you ask like really lucha libre fans, there's not a lot of knowledge about German or European wrestling traditions or who are the stars there in the moment, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to go on with this. And I just had some great interviews with Pentagon Junior and Ultimo Guerrero and Hugo Sabinovich, and so we're in this project now.
That is really nice. I didn't know about it until you told me. But to people that are listening right now, go to YouTube. It's brand new channel. It's really new. I'm already subscribed. It's called Borderside Wrestling, and I think this is really good that whatever you guys doing with this project, because that's the beauty about this sport. You can share whatever you know, and they can share what they know with you, and that's the beauty about it. And that's here at the podcast, I have a saying that goes, long life to the lucha libre. And that's what it means. The more you share, the more you compare, or however you want to call it, but at the end, you're sharing your knowledge, and they are sharing their knowledge. So that's the beauty about this sport. And it's really good that you're doing this. It's something that 20 years ago, it was pretty impossible just to think about doing something like this. Now, obviously, the social media and all that stuff, it helps. Technology, it definitely helps. Technology is helping us to doing this right now. And but that's something really, really good that you're doing, or the project that you have in mind for future stuff in your channel. But that's really good, and that's the beauty about this stuff. But congratulations, that's something really good to do with the sport and cultures, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you say, no, like 20 years ago, you hadn't had the social media, you hadn't had the possibilities to travel, to be in contact around the world, and that really got to another level now, and that I think that's quite interesting as well, no? That element mixed up, like Mexican style, American style, Japanese style. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And like I was saying, I mean, back in the day when people probably, if they still remember, you probably can see a lucha libre or a wrestling match everywhere, and well, big cities, obviously, no. And but it was more like yeah, you saw it, you like it, you love it, whatever, but that was it. It was really hard to be in contact with them. It was really hard to get to know them, and it was literally impossible to start being part of it. Like if you wanted to be a wrestler, it was really, really hard. Which is now, technology opened up that door, you know, and it's pretty much easier than what it used to be. But one thing I'm gonna ask you is, now that you've seen different stuff, different styles, training, and what are some of the things that you've seen in lucha libre in Mexico that you don't see anywhere else in the world? And I'm talking about style, culture, whatever you want to mention. But what is one of the things that you've seen there that there's none everywhere else?
Well, I think the basic or the very different thing about Mexican lucha libre is that it's such a popular sport, and the events in small arenas or big gymnasiums, that's really a family thing. As in Germany, there are hardly any kids at a match. That's just like grown-up people. And if you go here to the arenas, you see families with babies, small children, and all the children in the ring, and between the matches. And I think this is a really special thing and such a beautiful culture and hobby, that whole families can go for an economic price to see a great live event with a lot of very good prepared wrestlers and really have a great time, and I just saw now that we are here in lockdown because of Corona, that this is one thing that Ciudad Juarez in the moment really lacks, all this great weekend events and I know that there such a huge mass of fans who are so keen to see matches again, and we will just happen to have a match a puerta cerrada at closed doors on the 26th of December, and that's a cartelera from Pagano and the promotion Nueve Quince Cinco Seis, and it will be an all-female cartelera, and I think it will be a very great event and very nice for the fans, not only in Juarez, but as you say, you can see us around the world because it will be on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we'll watch. And like we were saying, I mean, technology has been helping us in a good way for this, so we can enjoy more things without being there, especially now with the COVID, and like you mentioned, all the events with the closed doors, and we can still enjoy it. And it's not the same. I can say it because you can, like you were saying, there's kids, there's teenagers, there's adults, there's elderly people. I've seen people that's like 80, 90 years old and still watching wrestling match live. So that's something that we'll never get to it. It's not the same without the public, without the people, but it's still something, And I think lucha libre is the only sport, the only one, and this is like no other sport can do this, but lucha libre is the only one that the people that is watching can be part of it, can participate, can be part of the match, obviously without hitting the luchadors, but it's the only sport that can do that. No other sport in the planet can do that or can say that. And obviously lucha libre, it is the only one that can do that.
Yeah, totally, especially interacting with or against los rudos, or people really getting excited, or wrestlers just jumping in tope or plancha fuera del ring, and they just get into the first, second, third row. I think that's so unique about lucha libre, that as the audience, you can really be interacting. You can shout whatever you need to shout at fighters and really be part of the show.
Yeah, of course it is, and that's really good. And what's your future plans for Miss Kath? I know you're doing that project that you just mentioned, but wrestling wise, like what are your plans for the future in the next, I don't know, 10 years?
Well, I'm really keen to go on to get a better wrestler, to get around to arenas all over Mexico, to get really a lot of experience about it, because I feel that I had a lot of training now, and for me it was really nice the quarantine with all that bad aspects it has. But Pagano was here at home, and before he was on tour all the time, and he had the time as well and the will to train, because he knew there will be Triple Mania coming. And so we had a small team of friends, of fighters, and we trained nearly every day at Calaca. And well, Pagano might not be un maestro, but I think I learned such a lot from him, and as well this mix of styles we spoke about now, like he has a lot of stiff style and a lot of elements you won't see with anybody else in the ring. And for me it was really a great time, and now I'm really keen on having fights and be able to put into practice everything I learned and I trained.
Okay, yeah. Well, definitely I can see you're in the right place. And what I mean is you're in a good position of learning different styles, learning different trainers. Because I'm going to say it again. I don't say this because I'm from Juarez. I say this because I've seen a lot of wrestlers. I've seen a lot of trainers. And definitely Juarez has a high level of training. Might not be the exposure how we like to see it, but training definitely is one of the tops. And I can see what you're doing. I can see where you're going or what you're doing. And I can tell you're in the right path. You're in the right path. You're in the right place. And your attitude has to do a lot with it. Like, you're learning, you want to learn more, you want to learn the best thing, the most stuff you can learn, you want to learn from the best. And that's definitely the attitude that will get you far. And like I was saying before, I mean, you can learn anywhere, but I think you're in the good spot, you're in the right spot. And I can say I wish you the best, but I don't believe that's the right words to use, because it's not necessary to wish when we see the work that you're doing, the training that you're doing. Is definitely you're going far with it.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm really proud to be part of this great culture of Mexican lucha libre, and as well to be part here of the city's lucha libre, no? And being in, as you said, in the spot where there came so many great fighters from, great wrestlers, male wrestlers from, and as well to have such a high potential of maestros, of events, and this very special mix of styles at the border side.
Yeah, of course. And like I was saying, I saw some of your matches. Like I said before, when you start, you don't have that experience. The only way to get it is to get more matches and get more people to learn things from them. So one thing I like when I saw it, it's that you do what we call ras de lona, and you do it. And when I saw it, I was like, well, she's learning, but she's learning the right way, because she's doing that. So that's it. And like I said, I mean, you're training in Juarez. It's not something like I was inspecting it like that. But I can see it. I can see that you're doing it the right way. And it might not be a lot of experience that you have right now, but you're doing ras de lona. Ras de lona is lucha olímpica, lucha grecorromana, llaves contra llaves. That's really good. That is something that you're learning the right way.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, and I know some years ago I still thought, wow, that's so far from me now, and now I know that there's a long way before me, but I can say as well now that I've learned a lot, and I'm really like part of it now. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and definitely your height is gonna help you in the long run.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very special thing about me as well. No, that I'm 6 feet tall, and I hardly have any female fighters before me that are taller than me. I think I haven't met nobody yet. And sometimes I'm fighting against men as well for that, or exoticos. And I think it's a special talent I have now to use my strength, my body weight and height.
Yeah, definitely it's gonna help you. You're 6 feet. I'm 6'3". I'm considered really tall. Not really, really tall, but tall. And so you're 6 feet. So you're taller than Pagano?
No, we're just the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's 6 feet. Yeah, because I'm 3 inches taller than you guys then. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's really an honor have somebody from another country like Germany going into Mexico, try to bond with the culture, try to bond with everything that includes a sport that is really, really part of Mexico. It's part of tradition, culture, and everything that goes into lucha libre is Mexico. So it's a really honor to have you going into that country, which is my country, even though I don't live there, and have you being there for good. It doesn't matter where people comes from, where do they go when they go to Mexico, as long as they respect the country, they respect the culture, and they respect the lucha libre, which that's what we like, and that's why we're doing this type of stuff, this type of content, because we do respect the sport, we do respect everything that goes around it too. So I see you doing the right way, I see you being in the right place, and that's really an honor to have you here and to have you in that country, which is my country. Try to learn about wrestling, try to learn about lucha libre, and be part of it. That's really an honor for us as a Mexican. I can tell you that is really an honor for us.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very, very nice to hear. And yeah, I think this is really definitely what we all have in common, no? The love for this thing called lucha libre, which you really can't limit to a sport, but it's really like a whole culture. Uh-huh.
Yeah, obviously it's part of the culture and it's everything. And we want to thank you. We want to thank you for being here. We want to thank you for doing what you're doing with the sport, obviously with our culture, and being part of it. And that's something we really appreciate. And it's gonna be you're doing the right way. Like I was saying before, people can check out your videos and you can see when somebody trains, you can see when somebody doesn't train. So I think it's going the right way. You're going the right way. You're in the right path for sure. and keep doing what you're doing. We really appreciate you being here, and we really appreciate you taking care of the stuff so you can be better, but you can grow up as a wrestler, luchadora, and grow up as a person too in a new culture obviously.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you at Mundo Tatakai.
But it's our pleasure for sure. And ladies and gentlemen, we had a really, really good talk with this person that it defines the word adventure for sure. And she's applying everything she knows to learn more. So that's even better. So we had the pleasure to have with us Miss Kath from Germany, now living in Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dankeschön. Nos vemos pronto. See you soon, wherever in Mexico or the United States. A pleasure talking to you, and take care. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Where can people find you in social media so they can follow you?
On Facebook, you can find me as Miss Kath, and on Instagram, Miss Kath Lucha. And yeah, matches you can find like this one we are making now at closed doors on the YouTube channel of Pagano El Noa Noa Oficial, creo.
Okay, before you leave, I'm gonna have you answer this question. We, as people from Juárez, when they ask you where are you from, this is how we answer. So you should know by now how you answer. And there's 3 words. It's one of them. I can give you a clue. One of them is Juaritos. That's the first one. So when you're somewhere else in other than Juárez, and they ask you where you from, this is how people from Juárez answer. So I'm gonna ask you, Miss Kath, where are you from now?
Juaritos, rifa y controla aquí at the border side.
You just passed the test. It was nice having you here. Good luck. Keep training, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so we stay in contact.
Well, as you can hear now, we had a very, very special guest, and we're really happy about having her with us. You already heard some of her story, which is really, really nice to see people that really work for what they want, what they try to fit into a different country, into a different culture, and obviously into a different sport. So that's always good. So it was a pleasure for us to have her here and have her talk about her life and personal life and sports and everything. So that's really, really good. We hope you guys enjoyed it. People from Germany who's listened to us, thank you for being here. Some people already listened to us from before, obviously in Spanish, because this is our first episode in English. But before that, we already have audience in Germany. So we want to thank you guys, and we want to let you know that we're trying to make more content in English. Obviously, we're going to have guests that only speak English, and we appreciate you guys being here. For the people that don't know, we have a really contest. It's not a contest, it's more like a raffle, and you can win 3 masks, original from the luchador, signed and everything. So it's all you got to do is go to YouTube, to our YouTube channel, the Mundo Tatakai and La Lucha Oficial, which is 2 channels that came together to do this for you guys, so you guys can have a good year ending, since this year has been kind of hard. So all you got to do is go there, subscribe, and put a comment with your email, and we're gonna raffle the comments. We automatically is gonna pick one comment, and we're gonna have first place, second place, and third place. The first place can get to pick which wrestler, and the second one the other two, and the third one the one that's left. So right now we have Templario from CMLL, we have Villano Tercero Junior, and the third one is Hijo de Octagon. Those are the three wrestlers that we're gonna be giving away their masks. And then like I explained, you get to pick which mask you want. So again, I thank you guys for listening to this episode, and hope you like it, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Like always say, long life to the Lucha Libre of Mexico. Thank you.